So today we're sitting here with owner of Buffalo Battleground, Shaune Dwyer. Happy to have him. Hello. He's been the owner for 6 years at this location off the Boulevard and 1 year at a separate location. So as we start with that, it's great to have you here today. If you wouldn't mind telling me, the rest of my cohort, a little bit more about yourself, your background in the field or elsewhere, and a little bit about how you got to where you are today.
I have been been part of like the whole entrepreneurial spirit for the last 11, 12 years of my life. I started a computer training company called Campus Link, where we focused on corporate education in IT, project management, critical business skills. So in that whole sector, we really focused around the Buffalo, Erie, PA market, Rochester a little bit. So I started that in 2004. My previous experience was I was a general salesman, education consultant. Primarily our goal was to train IT professionals in the industry who were working on various server-based technologies, Windows 2000, NT 4.0, Novell networks. So Microsoft would create education, and they would create a catalog, and we would roll out that catalog to different marketplaces. And part of that is we were a Microsoft certified partner. About 2 years ago, I sold that to a large book manufacturing organization called Logical Operations. It's been part of my life now. Kind of strange sitting here doing this interview, but that was part of my life for about 10.5 years. And real big sales emphasis, homegrown grassroots effort from a marketing standpoint. And then I got involved in this business, Buffalo Battleground, about 6 years ago with another partner who happened to share the same office space. We were looking for something fun to do. We wanted to go play paintball. During that time, we found a building that was pretty badly run, terrible management. We thought to ourselves, boy, what a great hobby this would be if we could take this over, rebrand it, create a new entity, and really exploit the whole airsoft business side of things. And lo and behold, it turned out the management that was there, the owners, hated each other, and they decided that they wanted to separate. And we kind of walked in there, rebranded the whole business, kind of came up with this idea of turning it more into a family entertainment center instead of a place where people like myself and you would go on a weekend and shoot each other with paintballs and
As we do.
Yeah. So we moved into this facility, and we really kind of honed our emphasis on structuring this more to a family-oriented business rather than a niche. So we kind of came up with the idea of turning airsoft into not an over 18, but under 12 type of business. And that's where we've kind of put our marbles, and it's been fantastic. And we've expanded the business now to focus on even a younger demographics for laser tag, and we built an arcade, and then we went the other direction, started doing axe throwing. So a lot of different things, and that's kind of been my background. So primarily I was in sales. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I wanted to own my own business, and I did that and sold it. We're here, and we're looking to expand the business and do it all over again.
So today we're going to focus a lot on decision making here, and as you heard with this background, there was a lot going into this process. Over the years, especially the last year or so, you've implemented the Fortnite lock-ins to appeal to a younger demographic. Same goes with something like building an arcade, and now appealing to an older demographic with the axe throwing that has been implemented the last few months. What really went into those processes, and how have you seen them benefit your ability to really target a wider range of demographics in this area?
The challenge has been what we've learned. So we spent near $1 million putting in this arcade. The problem is, the challenge now is everybody has these devices. Well, the kids, when you and I were younger, you're younger than me, so you're kind of in a different time place. When I was a kid, the thing that we would do on a Saturday and Sunday, didn't matter how much sports, we would go to the mall. We'd go to the arcade, we'd do something fun, we'd get together with our friends. That has kind of left the building. So we had to kind of figure out a way to capture those kids and drag them out of the house. So we went with a different laser tag system that focused more on the arcade style of games. Call of Duty, Battlefield, piqued their interest. Not more like the old laser tag systems where they shoot each other. And then we always have a problem if we can't make any money if we don't have people walking through the building.
Right.
We have parents always trying to push their kids out of the house. We're getting into a position where they're pushing and we're pulling. How do we do that? So the game, which kind of fascinated everybody to this day, Fortnite, we came up with the idea of why don't we offer everything in our building to these kids who love the one little thing, which is Fortnite. So we built our strategy around, let's get them in here into a competition base, let's get the kids out of the house, but let's let them run around, let them use our laser tag system, let them experience our arcade. That's the only way that we saw as an opportunity to peel their hands away from the games for a short period of time and put them back in our game. Because the trouble is the communication. I don't need to walk down the street to say hello to you anymore. Kids don't do that. My son's 14 years old and I can't drag him out of the house to do those type of things. So how do we connect them? So we have to pull them out of the basement and put them in our basement and do the same thing. Unfortunately, that's really the only way to do it. We have to really figure out a way what connects the kids. Competition with gaming is huge with the kids. And that's what we do with our Fortnite tournament. That's kind of our thought process. How do we disengage them and re-engage them here?
Well, you're doing a good job. Nobody can see it here, but we're sitting around 12 TVs that they use for those lock-ins. It's a very interesting basement you have going on in this back room. Something that many man caves would be jealous of. So do you read or review anything that kind of helps you get a better grasp and achieve more ideas that you can implement here in terms of decision making? You stay up to date with stuff like that, like Fortnite and whatnot, that was a lot more relevant to today's day and age.
The great thing about myself and a few of the people that work here is I'm kind of connected. My sons and daughters are all athletes, so we struggle with time constraints.
Sure.
I'm constantly plugged into what's important with the kids today, what they're doing, what they're outgrowing, what they're going into. Some of the other things that we do is I spend a lot of time on this. We leave a lot of case studies about different centers like ourselves that are experimenting, doing different things. Once a year, we travel down to Florida and we go to something called IAPA. It's the largest family entertainment show. People come from all around the world, as far as Australia, to come. If you want to buy a roller coaster, great, buy it there. If you want to see how the kids interact, it's a gigantic case study. You see 100 kids get off a bus and you see which games they flow to. We get to see where the crowd kind of gravitates towards. We experience all the different new gaming systems that might be out there, the virtual reality, the different type of laser tag systems. And then you get to really interact with different business owners such as ourselves. And he might be trying X, Y, Z, we're doing A, B, C, and then we try to figure out what's working, what doesn't work. That kind of stuff is very important.
How about any challenges between you to your employees? For the most part, I think your demographic is a lot more younger. The people you employ, you have a couple people, I guess, on the older side, some of your managers. Do you have any struggles showcasing these decision-making strategies that you're trying to implement? Do you have any struggles with them staying on task? Or
it is a very challenging. Our demographic from an employee standpoint has changed. We were in the 20s, 22, 23-year-olds that were really hobbyists that loved what we were doing, and they were totally engaged into the whole airsoft premise. But now, since our demographic has changed to a younger, we've kind of had to change that decision-making process of who we're hiring. They have to look good, they have to be patient. But one of the things that, unfortunately, that I struggle with my kids with two parents both working, two incomes, parents are making it easier on their kids to achieve things. Johnny wants to go play travel sports, it's a paycheck, go do that. Johnny needs a new bicycle, it's a paycheck. So when they come here, it's a real big awakening, because for the first time in their life, my kids, I struggle with this. I don't want to, pinhole anybody into a certain position, but at the end of the day, the market, when we're hiring these kids, there's a sense of entitlement, and you're breaking them away from this. This is the biggest struggle that they have. Every part of their life now is they communicate not by the hour, but they're communicating by the minute. So when you take this away from them, it's ripping their life away. It's a different world than when I came in. The work ethic is a little bit different. They don't do so much with their hands anymore. They're so integrated in technology. If it's not that part, they don't get it. It's a little bit of a lost world, so to speak.
What are some key things you can do to increase your decision-making abilities along the way? So not to remain stagnant, because we're in a fast-moving world. Things are changing by the day, by the minute. Technology is increasing. What do you do for you and your employees in this business to stay as up-to-date as possible and making sure your decision-making is key?
The great thing about how we have our business structured here, we have 3 people that all have unique skill sets, and my partner Brett is really highly in tune to the information technology side. How can this app, if we do this, how can this save us time? How can this efficiently control the flow of customers walking through? How do, when we get customers that walk through the door, how do we make that process easier? So we're always, from an IT standpoint, we're either at the mark or we're always looking for something down the line. So we're always kind of shifting our focus to how do we efficiently do things, or more efficiently do things, but staying ahead of the curve is a lot of research. We spend a ton of time figuring out not only what the manufacturers are doing and what they're coming out with, but what other centers like us are getting into. We see the trends based upon how centers like ours are being constructed, not being taken apart, but how they're being put back together.
Have you guys had a deal with Groupon?
We do have a deal with Groupon.
Do you have anything else? Have you ever thought of creating an app for this
I can, if
specific business, allowing your consumers to know when the next Fortnite lock-in is, or deals coming up, or hey, X throwing Friday night half off. Have you thought of other ways to connect directly with the business instead of going through
standard marketing channels?
Correct. Yeah.
And it's a really murky water. Years ago, you worked for a radio station. It used to be radio and print.
Yep.
Not anymore, because the landscape has changed. You don't know who you're reaching and when you're reaching them.
Sure.
Podcasts are gigantic, but the biggest thing now is the social media. Instagram happens to be one of the biggest building blocks of our business. And putting together a really unique way of connecting with our customers by integrating not what we offer, but how we offer it, especially airsoft, and when we had our retail store, showing them the really neat new things that were coming out, different game styles. We don't just, hey, come on in on Friday and Saturday. We would run different styles of games. Come in, it's not blackout or lights out. We're gonna do a gameplay around Call of Duty. But you have to be continually integrating your social media strategy. So we do a lot with Facebook marketing.
Okay.
We've done some in the past with YouTube, but currently it's been a challenge in the past marketing your business, from an SEO standpoint, how you're ranking certain things. But our biggest strategy has been social media. Groupon has been it's a tremendous way to flow your business out, but it's also a vacuum of problems that you run into. Once you establish that threshold of I'm selling it for 20, but now I'm selling it for 10, that big segment of business no longer wants to pay more than $10. You've trained your customers now that this is really the benchmark. It has its place, but it also has its big pitfalls to it.
And then, I guess to finish here, what are some of the key things that you would like to leave my cohort and myself with about decision making? Some final thoughts as we wrap up here.
If I were to make, never pigeonhole yourself into one process, but always have your pillars of how you want your business running, how you want to manage your employees, how you want your customers to perceive you, how you want your image to be perceived. That's the most important thing. Once you create those building blocks, then you start, how am I going to reach your customers? Too many times people love the process of, oh, I gotta have this, but it's how you're perceived, how you're going to push it out is the most important thing. Because as long as you have those pillars, it doesn't matter what you offer, the pillars are going to be the strength from everything that you do.
Great stuff today. Shaune Dwyer, owner of Buffalo Battleground. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You got it.